All right, take it away, my friend.
All right, now y'all can hear me. I'm Rusty Lackey. I've been with full time with their work. It's going on 23 years, and I was a senior vice president of a major bank in North Carolina, one of the top five from the Federal Reserve. I started my banking career in Washington D.C., working in the banking law department with Congressman Hunkin. Transferred to where I live in North Carolina, and I'm actually originally from Virginia on a big farm. And my father's a Baptist minister. He brought us here, but I transferred to Charlotte and I went up the ladder very quick. I outworked everybody, and here's why. I've been with my wife 45 years. I fell in love with her in 1979, went with her for 10 years, and I said, will you marry me, please? I knew what I wanted out of the gate, and been the best decision, or God brought her into my life. So, and a lot of things that's happening with the people here, it's God working, and I'm going to tell you why, and I can back it up with fact. So me and her are very poor. We got married a year later. She come home and said, I want to have a baby. I said, I'll take you to Walmart. You can buy one. And at that point, and I was excited with her, it's fatherhood didn't first time. And 2 weeks later, I lost my job. And we lived out in the country on a little piece of land I had. I put a mobile home out there. And I was trying to find a job. Nobody's hiring a guy like me. And I know what it is to be hungry. I know what it is to have no lights in July, no air conditioning, a pregnant wife with no money and no food. And I kept telling her, I said, one day I'm gonna be a multimillionaire. I'm gonna take you places you've never been. She said, would you focus on the food? I'm very hungry. Our little girl needs to eat. And so I washed cars, I mowed yards, I picked up beer cans, I did everything that I possibly could just to make enough money to get like a McDonald's meal. Back then I would eat McDonald's into her. And then a guy that I'm friends with today, 40 some years later, gave me a job working for him and his father at their big business. It was grunt work. And he paid me $5 an hour. So I worked really hard for the first day, 12 hours, I made 60 bucks. I got the lights turned back on. I got gas in my old pickup truck. And I went by a curb market and bought a 100-pound sack of pinto beans, dry beans. I was used to eating them on the farm. So I come walking in my little mobile home, my little glorified hallway that I was proud of. And I had this big burlap sack on one hand. And she said, what is that? I said, well, we ain't going to be hungry for a very long time, as long as we got water, heat, and beans. We ain't going to be hungry. So for the next 6 months, that's all we had to eat. It's not a joke. She's here. I even wrote a best-selling book about it. She's here. The kids are here to verify it. I have not had beans on my plate in 30 years. I ate enough beans in that particular time. I don't ever want any more. So when you speak things, God hears it. But are you willing to put the effort into it so he blesses it? God is not your genie. And I'm gonna verify this with facts. He ain't your genie. You can pray all you want to about weight loss, but if you don't adhere to something, it ain't coming off. You can pray about finances, and I want to make ungodly money. It ain't gonna happen until you go into action, and then you start making godly money. And so uh, I get this big job. I'm in the private jets. I'm flying all over doing corporate takeovers, mergers, acquisitions. I'm dyslexic. The numbers come very well to me, and by no means am I bragging. And now I get up to this big salary, $550,000 a year, not counting my perks. And now what's most important to me, I'm sacrificing. Now I got two little girls. I'm going 3 weeks a month. And my little girls are growing up. And so I'm sitting in my office one day in Charlotte, North Carolina, and my secretary, Leslie, comes beating on the door, said, Rusty, Robin needs to speak to you right now. And she's shaking her hands. I said, what happened? She said, she's on the line. Robin, what is it? She said, you ain't gonna believe it. So what? I thought one of my girls, they played sports. I thought one of them fell and got hurt. She said, I found a product where I can lose inches of fat in minutes. I said, what'd you say? She has a fat patch thing. I can lose fat in minutes. I said, well, praise the Lord. I'm glad somebody found it, and I hope you wish you well with that. She said, no, no, no. There's a girl coming to our house tomorrow. I want you to be here. I was here. It was on a Friday. And I was hearing this girl come walking up our sidewalk like she owned the entire Western Hemisphere. She was very confident in what she's doing. And here I am, a banker, and I challenge people for a living. And she's talking about this applicator product, and I'm sitting here about to laugh at her. And I said, you know, math doesn't lie. So I pulled out a tape measure, and she put this on Robin. I measured her first in 3 places. I took a Sharpie marker on her backside, and I marked it. I knew it wouldn't wash off. She said it keeps working for 3 days. And I said, you sure it will? And as soon as she left, I said, Robin, I'm glad you're happy. Whatever results you think you've got, that's fantastic. And you just lost my $25. You ain't gonna never see her again. She said, no, she said she's coming back in 3 days. I said, yeah, sure. So help me God on Monday morning. Knock on the door. I looked out the window. So, oh my God, Robin, that girl get $25 more. She needs gas money today. And I measured my wife, and she's down actually 3 point something inches. I thought it was 2 3/4. She corrected me the other day. And I said, well, that's good. I'm not interested in your product. And they said, why don't you have a wrap party? Listen to my story real closely. This thing works the way I'm going to tell you. Next Monday night, there was 23 ladies at my home. And they were eating and drinking. You know how you ladies do. Y'all get together. Y'all got to have a glass of wine and some chicken wings and some celery sticks. You know, you think the celery sticks is going to offset the wine and the chicken wings. It don't, I promise you. And every one of them had wrapped, and they just having a good time. I said, oh my God, with the food they're eating, it's going to be a disaster. So I called my father. I said, Dad, would you come over and get me? I can't even get one of the 4 wheels out in the garage, so I can drive over the mountain to see you to get away from this house full of women I got. He said, I ain't coming over there. Your mom and your sister's there. I said, well, I appreciate that, best friend in the world. I'll remember that. And then I heard the office, bunch of squealing and the hooping and hollering. So now, be careful what you pray for. I'd already asked God. I said, God, I'm so sick and tired of being gone. Would you bring something? Maybe I can get a local banker's job at home and be home at nights and on the weekend. So they squealing. I thought they was in a fight wanting their money back. So I hit the steps 2 at a time out of my office. I went around the corner where they were. Every woman was the most excited bunch of women I had seen in my life. I said, all right, what's the results? Everybody had results. I started asking this little girl. I said, well, God, what's your contingent plan for overgrowth? I said, how well is your funding? Well, I don't know. I said, well, who knows? Because I always knew if you found the right product at the right time, especially when it gave instant gratification without changing lifestyle, somebody could get rich. So she said, Mark Pentecost knows. I said, well, when can I talk to him? And I said, I want to talk to him first thing in the morning. So I asked Mark all these questions because I knew with the right product at the right time, we could change a lot of lives. And so next morning, I'm on the phone with Mark, and I asked all these crazy questions. We started developing a relationship. And every day we've talked since that particular time, except for 3 days, the last 23 plus years, except for the 3 days my father was down in the hospital. And Cindy called me every day praying with her. And so he said, you going to do it? I said, no. If I ever decide to do it, you know we get here. Here's what happened. God has to just jolt you a little bit to get you to go to where he wants you to go. So I called my boss to fly out 3 hours late. I didn't have to be into New Orleans the next day because I want to see my little girls get their awards for playing sports. This year I missed the Christmas church function. I missed every ball game. When I got home, I was exhausted, and they were either asleep or going to get ready to go to school. And as soon as he said, no, you cannot because I said so, my daughters are here. So they can tell you, I pinky promised them, I'll never miss nothing the rest of your life. That's the one thing that God showed me. It's time for a pivot and a change. Flew in on Monday morning. I fired that guy. And most CEOs ain't never got fired. But he said, I'm fired. What does that mean? It means I don't work for you no more. That's what it means. He said, what are you going to do? I said, remember me and you was making fun about MLM and the fat patch thing? He said, you're not. Said, yes, I am. It's going to be the biggest thing I've ever done. He said, look, you have a problem. I'm going to hold your job for 6 months. I said, you better feel it. I ain't coming back. If I have to get a job on a trash truck or if I have to go back to farming, I'm from a monster farm out of Virginia. That's what I'm doing. I'm not coming back here. I said, but I want to tell you how much I appreciate you. Now he's confused. I said, I appreciate you so much last Thursday evening because you said so. You made me realize what's most important to me, and it ain't you nor your salary. I'm not going to tell you the rest of the things I told him what he could do with all that as I left. So I'm coming up the road, I-85. I'm excited about my mission. I crossed the Yadkin River. I turned on a group called Leonard Skinner. Y'all ever heard of Leonard Skinner? Sweet Home, Alabama. I was trying to get the ambiance just right so I could come home and tell my wife what I just done. And they're still telling me how sweet Alabama was when I backed in my drive in case I had to make a quick getaway. I come in, she said, "Why are you home, honey?" I said, "Well, I quit my job a while ago. We're gonna be a full-time family." She said, "No, you didn't." "No, for God, I did. And when I do that, she knows we're for real. And none of you ladies have never done it. And I didn't realize my wife had this kind of vocabulary in her repertoire. But she become instantaneously demon possessed. As a green mist enveloped the room, I started looking in a phone book for a priest to do an exorcism because I knew the demons was there. So I had to go in my office. I locked the door in case she wanted to collect a life insurance policy. And I called Mark. I said, "Mark, you ready to do this thing?" He said, "Yeah, why?" I said, "I'm going to do it. I want you to sign me up right now." He said, "Okay." He said, I said, "I'm going to do it full time." He said, "Explain full time." I said, "All right, I quit the bank this morning. You sold me a vision, a dream. I'm coming after it. I'm going to give it everything I got. In fact, I have to now. Now, I ain't telling you to quit your job. By no means. I was not broke at that point. I was just sick and tired. And he said, "You quit your job?" I said, "Don't you get candy ass on me now. You sold me a vision. It's already done. And if we don't get started now, the woman upstairs, she's going to come down here and collect that life insurance policy. In fact, I'm going to call up her and tell her I just canceled it because she has nothing to gain with my death." She saw us going back to a mobile home with 2 kids and no food. I saw me making my break for freedom. So I got on the telephone. That's when we had nothing but conference call lines and 3-way phone calls. And the cell phones were inferior. There's absolutely no social media. So I started calling people I knew, told them what I did. And the first 10 people said, "Well, when you make it, let me know." Okay, I will. That never bothered me. The next person said, "Yeah, if you did that, I'm in." I said, "Well, I did it." And I told Mark, "Don't ever not answer my phone when I call you. I'm going to work this thing diligently." And then I sponsored 10 people. We started Who Do You Know Right Now that needs what we got. They started calling people. I had them on. We created sense of urgency. In 28 days, I was a very large double diamond. And we built a team of 635 people in 28 days. Most of you are here because of that, what we did back then. And it's pretty exciting. They sent me my little bitty check. It was for $9,997, and I'm excited. The one thing that kept me going is I had my little daughters would come home after school. I'd be still with a headset on and working as hard as I could go. One person after another. They'd have a little silver tray that mama's got. They would bring glasses of milk and peanut butter sandwiches. I don't like peanut butter no more neither. And I'd sit there on the floor with them. I'd hug on my children, tell them how much I love them, help them to do their homework. And then around 11 o'clock, I carried 2 little girls up 2 flights of steps. I put them to bed, tell them how much I loved them. But I saw their confidence start to gain. Daddy's at home. A full-time family is the most noble thing you go after when you go after your freedom. Freedom, it will be the most noble thing you ever do. And the one thing you can do after you go into your freedom, don't make an excuse as to why you can't get it done. I put it all on the line to go make it happen. I'm not saying I'm special, dyslexic maybe, but I know what I want in life and I know what I'm willing to do, and no, don't bother me. And I don't try to sell people my business or my products. I ask you questions. I need to know if I can help you in any way with the product line or a business. You do that by asking questions. Write that down if you're taking notes. So we're coming after it really good. The 3rd month, Mark calls. He said, "I told you I never lied to you. I want to tell you about this man." I said, "You did?" He said, "Well, we're broke." "Okay, we're broke. What does that mean?" "So we ain't got no money." I said, "I meant to ask you what we're going to do about it." He said, "I sold my house today, and I'm sending your little 12,000 some dollar check to you." Most people have said, "I'm sorry it didn't work out. You can go back to the bank." It just didn't work for it. No, he put his family's way of life on the line for mine. That's a man of integrity. I don't care what anybody else says. I've lived it for going on 23 years. There's a man that cares just as much about y'all as he does me. He cares about the culture we've developed. So in the 2nd year, I started getting very sick. And I got some amazing stories on here tonight. I got very sick. They found a tumor wrapped around my pituitary. I went from a 250-pound college athlete. In the next 4 years, I went to 750. I had to go through all the medical treatment. At the end of medical treatment, they gave me 6 months to live, told me to come home and die, and just take it easy, get my affairs in order. That ain't quite what I wanted to hear. I trusted them. Now, I'm not saying don't take your medicine or your medical treatments, I personally will never do it again. But anyway, they sent me home this very large guy that made me even sicker. And all I've done in the last 16 years, that's when greens first came out. I was eating so many greens every time I sneezed, the room would be green. I promised to God that I needed to alkalize my body, according to the naturalist people I've been talking to. So everything I drank had the greens in it, multiples a day. In the last 16 years, I've not had a medication in my body. I've lost over 500 pounds. I'm in my 60s and I still power lift. I got some guys on here that power lift with me. And I'm talking, this ain't for weak people. And I'm not saying it to brag. It's something I've done all my life and I'm back into it. And I've not had a medication in my body in 16 years. Not one. Not even asking for a headache. I want to prevent. So I want to talk about investing. You have to invest in you and who you are and where you're going. So I'm going to ask you a question. Did it take you, or what did it cost you to get to exactly where you are physically? If you're overweight, if whatever, what did that cost you? The cost to get it off of you is a whole lot less than what you paid to get on it, because you're going to start to feel there's so many benefits that come with it. It comes with a benefits package to get your health back in line. And so now that I've got here in this 42 months, I made the first $1 million, but 10 people on my team did it with me. And here's my goal. I want everybody on the Zoom to help you do exactly the same. In fact, you're going to be able to do it quicker than I've done it from here forward. And you know why? Because everything has already been tried, proven, tested, and it's all passed the test. But I'm going to tell you this. When you ask God that you need something, you want to go somewhere, God is a God of abundance. And when you apply yourself in that particular manner, the abundance will start to flow, but you have to put the effort into it. But there's some people that cannot go where you're going. God has to get them out of your life. Some people are temporary. Very few people are long-term people, are what they call lifers. Oh, they're there when it's all great and good. And when it's all great and good, yes, everybody's on the bandwagon then. But when you have to pivot because you got growing pains and you're going to grow to the next level, you have people, they'll always tap out. They weren't meant to go where you're going. That's why all of you are on this Zoom right now. And for where we're going, this is the fourth biggest run I've ever had in my entire life, especially with It Works. I already see it. I know it. I already see it materialize. You're at the right place at the right time. Now, if anybody wants to challenge it or doubt it, how have I been here for 23 years? I'm going on 23 years, full time. I have to do nothing else. I get up, this is my passion. I love to help see people succeed. And with Mark, with the integrity he had to sell his house so he could pay me and a few other people. So I'm going to tell you this story. Then I want to get to my stories. I'm the fourth generation firstborn, and my grandfather fought for George General Patton in the Second World War. And at 5 years old, my grandfather showed me all the medals he got, all about leadership. And he's going over and over and over it. And he got to the last three. I said, Grandpa, how did you get those? He is a big stout guy. I mean, 6'6", hands twice as big as mine. When he shook your hand, you knew a bear had a hold of you. And he said, I had to kill people. How did you do that? He said, it's not how I done it, it's why I done it. And at 5 years old, you don't understand. He said, for the love of your grandmother, the love of your father, I knew one day you were coming. He said, so we put it all on the line. So back in the early days, Mark and I put it all on the line 3 different times. We could have said this over. We built a culture. We put it all on the line because we knew one day you guys were coming. We knew things were going to get right for the right people, the right culture, because you were coming. And we just refused to quit. And today, we refuse to quit. So I want to bring on my first success story, Mr. Ronnie Evans from right here in North Carolina. I've known Ronnie for 20 years. Ronnie's been with me for about 4 years. So Ronnie, come on and share your incredible story with this team of people.
Yeah, like I said, I met Rusty probably about almost 5 years now, reconnected with him. I know him a couple of years prior to that, but we reconnected. And matter of fact, when we reconnected, I walked past him. I didn't even recognize him because when I knew him years ago, he was over 400 plus pounds. And when I walked right by him and he recognized him. And he's like, what, are you with Cephas? I said, I'm sorry, I didn't even recognize you. I said, well, you lost a lot of weight, ain't you? He said, yeah, I did it drinking coffee. I'm like, you lost that much weight drinking coffee. He said, yeah. I said, okay, well, that's cool. That's good. I don't drink coffee because I don't like hot drinks. He said, well, you can do it cold. I said, okay, that's cool. We can do cold drinks. So we stood on a talk, had our meeting. And at that time, I was pushing over 450 pounds myself. I was a travel salesman. I saw the back of a windshield more than I seen people. I mean, I traveled all over the place. And, after that dollar, so I neglected my health and it was showing. And I just turned 50. So I told Rusty, I said, he asked me if I'd be interested in trying some of the product. And I told him what everybody else does. Oh, let me think about it. Because I really didn't know if I wanted to commit to a change and stuff. I knew I needed a change, but I didn't know if I wanted to commit to it. And so I said, well, let me think about it. He looked at me, so I tell you what, when you're ready to be an asset to your family, not a liability, call me. I'm like, wow, that's pretty much to the point. No wonder I hadn't seen you in a while. But that's Rusty to the point. And so then the next day, I'm traveling down to the beach, traveling back. I listened to the radio, and I don't even know what the pastor was preaching on. But all I heard him say is, I never saw a dead man cash a check. And man, that hit me, and I started remembering what Rusty said. So I turned off the side of the road, had a come to Jesus moment. I'm like, Lord, I've been chasing the dollar. I've neglected my health, and now I got to do something about it. So I called my wife. I said, honey, there's going to be some changes around here. And she's like, you're bringing the car back, right? I'm like, yeah, because we was down to one car, we had the other one repossessed, which that's another story. And so I said, yeah, I said, no, I said, I'm going to come home. I said, I'm going to start using that product Rusty's talking about. I need to start getting healthy again. And she goes, what are you talking about? I said, that coffee. She goes, you don't drink coffee. And we don't have money to do coffee. I said, well, he said it works. And I'll just talk to you when I get home. So next day, I meet up, Rusty gets the coffee. So on the way home, I told my wife, I said, hey, I got that coffee. I'm ready to change some things in my life and everything. She's like, wait a minute. We don't drink coffee. You don't drink coffee. We don't have the money. And, why'd you do it? I said, well, this says it curbs your appetite, gives you energy and targets your belly fat. And she's like, what'd you say? And I said it again. She said, no, the last thing. I said, targets your belly fat. She said, exactly. She said, if it does that, the last child we had came with luggage and left it. I'll do it first. So she did it. In 6 days, she lost 6 pounds, and it was on her stomach. And she goes, okay, what do we need to do? Don't let me run out of coffee. So I called Rusty. I said, okay, we're in. I need to add some more product so I can order it. And he goes, well, I'll tell you what. He said, how would you like to do the business? I said, what are you talking about? I said, I don't feel like driving and having a lot of product in a warehouse and all that stuff. He said, I don't know what you do. He said, well, we don't do it this way. You just use the product you need and then just share it. We've got warehouses all over the world. We can take care of all the shipping. All you got to do is just use the product. So I said, well, let me tell you. He said, well, here's the thing. He said, either you can pay to get healthy or we can pay you to get healthy. How would a couple $100 a month work? I was like, right now, that sounds good. And what he didn't realize was a month prior to that, we were in foreclosure. Not doing it, it was already happened. So we were looking at trying to find it somewhere else. So I told Rusty, I said, yeah, we'll do it. Well, the first week, I get a check in my deposit for $200. And I called Rusty. I said, hey, man, it works, made a mistake. He said, what do you mean made a mistake? I said, yeah, they paid me, and it ain't the 15th of the month. He said, well, no, that's fast start bonus. I said, okay. When does that happen? He said, pays out every Friday. I said, cool. I said, how many times can I do it? He said, every Friday. He said, that's why they do it on Friday. So the next week, I did the same thing I did, and I got another $300. So my first month, I got like $500 before even the month ended, And so I was like, this is cool. And so to go to a long story short, the first year, me and my wife lost about 75 pounds together. We got our house out of foreclosure. We replaced her car that was repossessed, got me another car. I tell everybody it's like a country song played backwards. We got our house back, we got our car back, we got our health back. Everything that we were neglecting, we got back. And so everything was fine. We're doing things and stuff. Then all of a sudden COVID comes around and boom. So I ended up getting COVID. Now they said it wasn't COVID. I didn't test. I just tested negative, but I was having problems breathing. Went to the doctor, and the doctor said, he asked, did I drive there? And I said, no, my wife did. He said, well, they're going to take you to the hospital. He said, your oxygen level's at 60. I'm like, that's not good, is it? He said, no, that's not good. So he took me to the hospital. 2 hours later, I don't remember nothing for 2 days. It ended up being pneumonia. They hooked me up to machines. Within 6 days, they released me. And they said everything was fine, everything's normal. And my doctor there, he said, whatever you've been doing, keep doing it. And I said, well, I have lost a little bit of weight, over 100 pounds by that time. And he said, well, if you hadn't done that, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And he said, so whatever you've been doing, keep doing, because that's what got you out of here so quick. I said, well, I've been taking hydrates, greens, red, and I just went through a whole list of things that I do every day. And he said, well, keep doing it. So the next 2 weeks, I went to my physical doctor to get a physical and check everything out. He said the same thing. He said, whatever you've been doing, keep doing, because that's what's kept you alive during COVID. And I said, well, then that's when I realized whatever you do today will affect you one way or the other. I don't care how you look at it. It's either going to affect you good or bad, depending on what you do. And so now, you see the background behind me. One thing I love about It Works, there's a lot of places that say, here's my before and after. It Works is the only company that has ever allowed me and given me the opportunity to do a before and after, and an after, and an after, and an after. And this one here says, I lost over 175 pounds. The updated one, it don't have the word lost, because I realized I didn't lose it. I don't want to find it. So I've eliminated now up to 195 pounds. And the cool thing about it, there's another picture on the other side that I'm working on. So that's why I told Rusty, it's your before and after and after and after. But notice I said an opportunity. It's got to be your decisions. The product's there. You've got to put the effort in. The money's there. You got to put the effort in. It's like anything else. The opportunity's here. You got to put the effort in. And so now that's what we do. And that's our story. We just love telling people, hey, how can we help you? Have a before and after and after and afters.
Yeah. So Ronnie, how old are you?
55.
How many medications you on?
None.
None, zero. Okay. Thank you, Ronnie. And there's just one of many stories. And what I want you to understand, your story is just as important. Get a product, create a story, and there you're a walking, talking billboard, and you share it with conviction and passion. You don't have to sell it. And if you ask the right questions, people want to be just like you. They're looking for the success and to get paid. And Ronnie, by the way, drives 2 hours one way to train with me 3 times a week, 2 hours back home. So he's very committed to where he's going. And money is only a byproduct for how many people, how you develop your story, and how many people that you share this with. And my next guest is Rachel Simpson. She's been with me for about 7 years. And Rachel, I want you to come on and share your story with everybody. Now, take notes on this one.
Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here. And what I caught from the stories that you guys have already shared is that it takes us hitting rock bottom to actually make a move sometimes. And that is totally my story. So my name is Rachel Simpson. I'm a 37-year-old homeschool mom of 3. I have 4 bonus children. And I started this business because I got tired of going into the grocery store and deciding which kid got to eat. My 8-month-old still needed formula and diapers, and my older kids needed ground beef, and I just couldn't do it. And I got tired of living that life. And so I started this business. And 2 months later, we started buying groceries stress-free. 7 months in, I came home full time, got to see my kids more, got to fire my boss. 9 months in, I went debt-free. And within 2 years of being in the business, I had a stroke. And I lost all of my abilities, everything. I couldn't walk, talk, eat, none of it. Couldn't drive, nothing. And as I'm gaining those abilities back, 6 months later, after the stroke, Brandon has a heart attack and has to have 4 stents. I couldn't even, the first time I drove him to the hospital to where he had a heart attack, and I couldn't drive him to Huntsville. I had to drive him in town. Anyway, I started reworking this business. I got all of my abilities back. It's 2 years after the stroke now. And what I realized as I'm looking back is it's not that God was, holding back from me or waiting for anything other than he was teaching me how to fish. Because if I hadn't started this business, I wouldn't have been the type of person or had the ability, because these products helped me get through the stroke. I wouldn't have been the woman that I am today, because I just started the business, because I just said yes. And so not only have these products benefited and improved my life and gotten me through things that I needed to get through, but God used this business to really change my life and give me a purpose now that I get to walk in and I get to share with people. And I'm super excited about that.
Anything you hand me after that story is an excuse, and I'm not going to buy it. So, what I wanted to show you is that we all go through adversities. And it's how you condition yourself, and I believe in journaling every day. I believe in growing every day. Even as long as I've been here, I still read books every day. I journal every day, and when I journal, it's called what journaling is all about is you discovering. You're discovering who you really are. You're discovering your story. You're discovering the value and the enrichment you offer to other people by developing your story. That's why journaling is a big deal. And it has to become part of your life. I don't care. Every person I know that makes mega millions up to billions, that's one big deal. They read a lot and they journal a lot. And when you journal, you're writing your story, and it's called a comeback story. The journaling makes you very aware that you discovered who you really are. You discover your confidence, that you're discovering 1 year from now, you will never be back to where you are today. None of us will, as long as you're doing the right thing and you're showing up every single day. If you have a job, you still have to show up, punch a clock. You have to get XYZ done, or you don't get paid, or they fire you, or you're on a salary, or they molest your time, like I was. And then if you don't get it done and you don't meet the numbers, you're fired. So now you're the CEOs of your own business, and we have little bitty simple steps that you go through, and you go through it, and you go through it till you hit it. And you're one person away from financial freedom, but you're the person. And when you share that with other people, that financial freedom thing is I have not woke up my alarm clock in going on 23 years. My children had full-time mommy and daddy the whole way through the rest of their years in school. And now I have a new little granddaughter. She's 14 months old. She has a full-time grandpa, and I'm spoiling her to death. And I don't care that the rest of them doesn't like it. That's their problem. But there again, everybody can't go where this particular group is going. We're going to a level we've never been before. Even me, even Mark. He told me this morning, we're going to a level that none of us have ever been before. And you know what? Almost 23 years of history that we have together, I'm 100%. I'll bet everything we got, invest everything we got into him and where we're going, because the best has not even gotten here yet. I have heard that everything you do from now to the first of the year is going to be like retroactive, whatever. Look that word up. I'm not sure what it means for what they're going to launch in the first of the year. It's going to take you places you've never been. And just know one thing, I'm an advocate for the field. I have no problem voicing my opinion very strongly in what I know will work, as I help develop some of your compensation plan. Your when somebody leaves, the compression, yeah, that was me. Your coding money, yeah. So I understand the numbers are. I'm not bragging on me. I want to get paid like you do, but don't pay me if I don't work. Just let me get paid, but don't limit my abilities to earn if I put the effort into it. And the whole deal, we got to stay where we're duplicating our efforts through the success of other people. And it's 4 and 1, 4 and 1. Teach people how to do 4 and 1. The duplication of that. I ran the numbers for the team we have in Canada. Kevin was with me in Dallas, Texas the other day, and we run the coding money just at double. How easy it is, how quick you can make $1 million just in coding money through duplication. That's the one thing that we got to get right back to, having people duplicate our efforts. So I got one last story, and then we're going to open it up for questions and discussions, if that's okay, Maria. Kevin Sizemore was with me. I've known Kevin for many years. He was with me in Dallas the other day when we had the meetings with the lawyers and Mark and everybody. Kevin, I want you to come on and share your story as well.
All righty. Well, thank you, Rusty. First of all, I've got to mention Rachel. Every time I hear your story, sweetheart, I am so inspired. So just thank you, and God bless, and I hope you have continued good health. But my story begins about 2 years ago. Just going to my doctor for routine checkups. And truth be known, I wouldn't have been doing that had my wife not been saying, "Honey, now you've reached that age. You need to probably go see the doctor." but that's a loving spouse. So, but I had been taking blood pressure medication for a number of years, but things got serious 2 years ago when I had some blood work done, and the doctor announces to me that my A1C was at 6.9. And she said, "I fully expect that when you come back to see me in 6 months, that you'll probably be a diabetic. And if that is the case, then I'll probably be putting you on a drug called metformin." Well, all of this was news to me. Some diabetes did run in my family, but I never considered myself to be terribly overweight. Could stand to use a few pounds, and of course the blood pressure medication and so forth. But when she said that I was facing diabetes, I knew the seriousness of that. So not to make a long story longer, but I took it very serious. I came home, I did a Google search on metformin, and what I found from reading about that particular pharmaceutical was that the side effects are far worse than having the diabetes, which it was supposed to be treating. And something just resonated with me, and I just made the decision that it was time for Kevin to get healthy. Yeah, I had a good friend of mine is who brought It Works to me, and he said, "I'm going to introduce you to a friend of mine." Of course, that was Rusty, and he said, "I believe the two of us can probably help you." So over the next 9 weeks, I was using the 14 Easy Plus. Was the program 2 years ago. Now we have the slimming system. So, but I was using 14 Easy Plus, and then some ideas came from Rusty. Some of the things he was doing with the salads and the Skinny Girl raspberry vinaigrette dressing on the salads. And but I took it very serious. But in 9 weeks, I lost 32 pounds, and I called my doctor and I asked for another appointment, and she said, "Well, you're several months too early." I said, "No, you don't understand. I want to come see you." And I said, "And I also want new blood work done." And she said, "Well, you're not due for blood work for another year." I said, "No, you're not listening to me. I want an appointment and I want blood work done." And she says, "Well, insurance won't pay for it." I said, "Are you listening to me? I want the blood work done." So, so long story, we went back to the doctor, and she's seen that I had lost the 32 pounds, and my A1C was 6.3. So I had lowered it 6/10 of a point in that 9 week period. And very similar to Ronnie's story, she said, "Well, I don't know what you've done." She said, "But whatever it is, most certainly you need to continue, because you've really turned things around." Now, I'm not going to recommend you do this, but I was getting a little bit lightheaded, and I had taken myself off of the blood pressure medication, probably 3 or 4 weeks into the weight loss, and not knowing it. But when she checked my blood pressure, it was also normal. And she said, "Well, yeah, I can see why you took yourself off the med." She said, "Your blood pressure was too low." And she says, "Were you dizzy?" I'm going, "Yeah, a little bit." So long story short, 9 weeks, 32 pounds lost, lowered the A1C to where I was no longer a diabetes candidate. And I took myself off of the blood pressure medication with my doctor's approval when I told her that. That was 2 years ago. Today, I'm probably somewhere in the 30-pound weight loss. I'm not going to lie, fluctuates up and down a little bit. I'm happy if I stay in a 10-pound window. So I had gotten down to 178. So my marker is I never get above 190, and if I get even in the upper 180s, I start getting back on track. But the cool thing is, I trust this product line, and I can do it anytime that I need to. And I'm blessed that I don't have to have a strict maintenance plan, but I have my contingency plan that I know when I eat that piece of cake that I shouldn't eat, or we go out to dinner and I'm not watching the carb intake, and a couple 3 or 4 pounds will slip up. All I got to do is come home and just get serious again for a few days, and I can drop a pound a day for 3 or 4 days in a row, and I'm back where I need to be. And the cool thing is, I'm never hungry. You got to use your Slimmer. You got to use your Thermify X. You got to take that Slimming gummy. You drink your hydrate. You drink your greens. And my biggest thing with the weight loss, and I told Rusty this in the beginning. I said, if I'm hungry, it's over. And he says, you do it the way I tell you to do it, you won't be hungry. And he was correct. So sorry if I was a little long, but that's my story. And like I say, 2 years in, and I'm still healthy.
Wow, it's 3 incredible stories, but your story is just as important, is just as incredible. And so you make up your mind to get committed. So, and all these years, my wife and I have never failed to run an auto ship on the first of the month. Never. You know why? We invested in us. I've been sick before. I'm not going back there. And what it cost me at the end of my sickness was more than most people make in the entire lifetime. And I can tell you, I'm not going back there. And if I can go 16 years with no medications, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not telling you to quit your meds. I'm just telling you to go to work. And so I want to touch on something else about the journaling. If you just journal 3 lines to start with, 3 lines, that's a start. And the more you journal, the more your mind will get adapted to it, the more creative you'll be able to write and identify your strengths, identify your problems, and then forward you can create a solution for your problem. And I want to say this is we're a team. Nobody wins together. I'm not some great hoopball, whatever they call them nowadays. I just will get up and show up to work, and will never quit it. It's not in me. And my job is to right here lead you right in. And I don't mind kicking the door down first. I'm not going to send you somewhere I've never been. We're going to go together, because we're going to a place now I ain't never been. And then I'm pretty sure y'all probably never been there, but we're going to go together. It's more fun when we go as a team. It ain't fun just 1 or 2 of you on the island. It's fun when we're all there and enjoying it. But you're going to become people of impact. And how do I know that? I have the only 2 children that are OJs for It Works Global. They were raised with mommy and daddy full time. But now I'm in my 3rd generation. My granddaughter is being raised by a full-time family. And it's because of It Works Global. I don't know what you want, what your dreams, your visions, your goals are. Get disciplined. Discipline has to be something you practice. And then it becomes a way of life. And you never let nobody get you off your A game. Nobody. You don't tell your big old dream to a small-minded person, because they don't want you to win no way. They want you to stay where they are. And that's okay. That's cool. But you can't have any of my time. So your time is the only currency that you own. And the way you invest your time, it will either create an asset or liability. And when you make up your mind that I'm going to be an asset for my family, that's what you go and do. But we do this together. And whatever Maria or your team needs, or these stories we got here, you count us in 100% of the time. Just count us in. I don't care. My deal is you text me, and for anybody on your team that's not in the Black Road to Black Diamond chat, call me, put them in, and I'll approve it, or Michelle will approve it, or I will, and we'll do it as soon as you put them in. And that way you'll know everything we're doing. And we normally have what do we call it? Team Huddle on Thursday nights, and that's at 9 o'clock Eastern, which is an hour behind you, Maria. I mean, your Central Time. And you're all welcome. And we go over certain things to make you think. And then everybody is valuable on my team. You don't need it. I don't even let them rank me no more. There's no need in it. I don't need that. I want you to go out and bust it through the roof. I want to help you go to the next level. And when we help you go to the next level, we all win. So why do they call it team? Every one of us has a position, and you have to execute your position. I played football a lot of years. I ended up at Georgia Tech playing on a scholarship. So you have to execute your position. If not, your uniform is as white as it was when you walked on the field. I like to have mine tore up when I come off the field. That means I come out of the stands and we got in the game. So right now, if I could give you any advice, get in the game. I don't care where you are, who left you, who whatever. They can't go to where we're going. They don't have the ability there. They would only do nothing but sabotage. And when if whatever you're looking for, you're gonna find it. And whatever you feed, it's gonna grow. I just chose to feed the business, feed positive, create solutions for problems, create a solution for my own problem, and therefore I can do what? I can help create solutions for other people's problems. And if you're trying to sell the business or you're trying to sell the product line, stop. Ask questions to how you can serve that purpose, that person. That's called enrichment. And then they start to trust you. When you build that level of trust, people are going to talk about you. I just see where I got 3 new customers from one customer that's been my customer for a while. You know why? I send thank you cards, these pins, I handwrite them. Thank you for being my customer, supporting my small family business. What can I do to help you? The forms of communication, yeah, it takes a little extra time, but it pays off big dividends later. That's because I want to be an asset. Because how do you want people talking about you when at the end of the week, did you really take care of them? Really? If you did, they're going to be talking good about you. My customer base brings me a lot of customers, new customers every month. You know why? Because that is the biggest investment I can make. And so I do a little social media. I do a lot of 3-way phone calls, picking up the phone, calling people, letting them know, seeing how I can just serve you. So it's not the go-getters, it's the go-givers. How well are you serving your team? How well are you serving your own visions, dreams, and goals? How well are you serving your family? And are you serving people to the level that you like to be served? And so that's all this is. We're just servants. Servant leadership is what they call it. And when you get in and you're going to serve people better than others, that means you're going to help create solutions for their problems. And there's more than one route to every destination. There's multiple routes to the destination. So if you come at me with a problem, have 3 solutions that we're going to go over and which one we're going to try first. And then you notice I say we jump in this thing together. Does that make sense? Anybody got anything they'd like to add or questions you'd like to ask? Come on now, I know y'all ain't shy.
Rusty, you had mentioned that Maria was a bit of a social media guru. I know we can't take a lot more time tonight, but if she's got any little golden nuggets.
Yeah, so Maria, if you got any nuggets about us old guys, so me and Kevin, we're well in our 60s. Ronnie's right behind us. And we would like to learn a little bit about how you did the social media deal.
Well, that's all I've done in 8 years. That's how I went triple diamond, was through social media. That's how I run my business. I'm not a big phone call person. So when Rusty said, "Can I call you?" I thought, well, can't you text me? No. Honestly, it's just like you guys, face to face, belly to belly, whatever you want to call it. It's just consistency. It's just showing up. It's getting my story out socially versus just showing it to somebody in person. And for me, I just enjoy it. Like, I am a social person, but I don't want people coming over to my house. I don't want to have to go to everybody else's house. So it's kind of the same thing. But I mean, there's a lot of things that social media that I tell you, but I guess the number one thing would just get over yourself and just be consistent. When I first started using social media, it was trash. I didn't know how to post. I didn't know how to do anything. I just put pictures of, products up there, but it's really, you've got to sell your story. You've got to just be yourself, and people are going to come to you. The one big thing that I love to tell my team is people buy people, not product. So if they're going to buy into me, then they're going to buy my product. So I'm just showing up every single day as myself. And I'm always trying to use the new things that Instagram rolls out or Facebook rolls out. So reels are huge right now. It's a way a lot of people are making a lot of money. And it's just videos, So I'd say that's probably the biggest tip that I have for you.
Wow. No more than the way we do it, except she's just doing it on TV, social media. Yeah. And we do fairly well with social media, but we were raised with my father being a minister, that's belly to belly personal. Banking is very personal. So I just know how to be very personal. But you know, that what she said makes a lot of sense to me. So absolutely. So that's cool. Anybody else got any questions?
Yeah, Maria, this is Denise Pearly. Hi, I have a question. As of late, I don't know if you noticed, but if you put the @ sign, you put @ followers, @ everyone, it was another one that me and Lisa was talking about. Do you know about
There's
that?
highlights that I
Yeah.
heard.
What does the highlights do? Because I know with everyone, it's usually my friends list. And when I put @ followers, I get my followers. What are the highlights for? Those are the people that
Most
Probably do the most
frequently
interacting
interact with you.
okay. That's a game changer. And I notice when I do my stories, if I put a picture of myself or a video, if I scale it down a little bit and put specifically like at Kentucky, because I'm in Kentucky, or if I just put anything, women's group or whatever the case is, whatever is in the stratosphere is going to reach them. And I notice my numbers are getting higher doing that, and also putting @ everyone, @ followers, @ whatever it is. So, but that's a tip that I've been knowing, because my numbers, they're like uneven now. Usually you could see who's looking at it and you could contact them. But now that I'm starting to do that, I have like maybe a 10 to 15 ratio of different numbers. You know, who's watching it, and then the other people, you can't see them anyway. So, but it's increasing. So I don't know if I asked the question or you answered it already, but
I think your question was, what does highlights do? And highlights just means
Yeah,
that it's, highlights is for people that most interact with you.
Okay. So a new way of tagging, guys. Yeah. Mhm.
I don't really have a question, but the thing that I really took out of this was what Ronnie said with his before and after and after and after and after, is don't think about the weight as you lost it, but you eliminated it. Because you don't want it back. It's just like when Ronnie's wife said, I want to use the wrap or whatever products because the kids brought luggage and they left it. She wanted to eliminate it. Change the mindset, use a bigger word. Some people are going to be like, wait, what? Eliminate weight? How do I do that? And they'll start to really think about it differently, and it'll help you too, because they're asking, what do you mean by eliminate?
Well, one thing about what you said, Chad, is so true. Everybody has done some type of a diet or something in our lifetime that we have lost a pound or two, and we've gained back 20. I mean, it's like we've lost it, but we gained more back. And that's why it's hard to talk to people about losing weight, is because, oh, I did that when I was 20 years ago. What, I mean, they've all got the negative that it came back. And so that's why, in my mind, I wanted to make sure, okay, well, it ain't coming back. It's eliminated. But then here's the thing, to get something to eliminate, I learned this from working out with Rusty, you got to do what you got to do to not let it come back. Because if you don't do anything, it will come back with family. I mean, I'm just telling you. And that's the problem, is a lot of times we don't do what we need to do to keep it off and to do whatever. So that's the biggest thing. And I can realize, journaling. When you start journaling, you'll start thinking different. You'll start wording things different. And that's really what you're doing, is how you word things. Lose, eliminate, 2 words, totally different meanings. And when in your mind you realize eliminate, that means I've got to do something to make sure it don't come back. Lose means I could just let it go right now, but when it comes back, I'll go lose it again. And so it's one of those. So
Or it's like whenever you lost something that you needed, like say in the cold weather, you need gloves or hats when you're a kid. Your mom's like, where'd you lose it? You better go find it. Now, in this case, it's like we're needing to be in the world of elimination on things that we don't want to have back, and weight's one of those things.
One thing that I'm so sorry. One thing that I wanted to add was I've learned this from Rusty and from so many others, is that our words have power. There are so many things that we say that our brains go, oh, I believe that. I know that. Like the word lose, you got to find it. Like it's not beneficial unless you say, like, I eliminated it. Or Rusty, you mentioned the where we do the cheat meals. There is so many people understand that, but that's why we are so hard on ourselves about, oh, it's my cheat meal or my cheat day. We already tell ourselves that we're skipping out on something, that we're giving into something, that we're not going to do something. And it's convincing ourselves that it's okay for the moment. But if we say it's a reward meal, if we just change the little things and tweak those little words, it's so powerful. Our brains start to go, oh, wait, I'm not cheating. I'm not losing it to find it again. I'm going to eliminate it. I don't have to do this again. I'm going to have a reward day. Like it lets go of so much crap that we believe that is just holding us back. There is no sense in this. We need to watch our words and use the right words. And there have been so many ways that I have found that I used the wrong word. And one of those that you said was the lose. And it strikes me because it's so powerful. I did not know how powerful that was.
That's why journaling it creates a discovery. You just realize who you are, and you'll watch your journaling. If I go back and read what I was journaling 23 years ago, you advance. That gives you the ability to grow. And anything you take a real pen and commit to paper, you internalize it here. And when you start to internalize, hey, I want to ask y'all a question. What is 2 things that never take any time off? Come on now.
Yourself and your kids. I don't know.
Well, that's true.
Uh,
Well, there's 2 major things that never take any time off: poverty and disease.
Mm.
You have an antidote for both of those, the poverty and disease. Now, whatever you feed is going to grow. That's why when you change your vocabularies and your languages, the way you speak to yourself, that all is a big deal. And then you're going to take the action the way you talk to yourself. And if you ever, how many of you, put a 1 in the chat if you want to actually become a 7-figure earner? There's nothing wrong with it. It's not the money that's the root of all evil, it's the love of it. For people that are religious. How many, put a 2 in the chat if you want to secure your family's future or your legacy takes care of your children or your grandchildren. I was talking to Mark the other day and he said, for the business, y'all will be able, it'll pay your kids and your grandchildren for years to come if something were to happen to you. It makes me feel kind of good. They ain't seen nothing yet because I'm just now getting started. I'm getting ready to graduate direct sales school here in the 23rd year. And now we're going to go out and make it really happen because we have the right team with us. All the other people, they got their little degrees or they quit or whatever. They went somewhere else. Now they're begging to come back. And I'm not sure we want them back. Being really honest. I want to go with people that want to win. Winning becomes a way of life. And then when you start to win on that level, you create a different expectation about your health, about your finances, and you'll go and get whatever you expect. Just be sure you expect more out of you than anybody else could ever possibly expect out of you. It's the person like Michael Jackson, the song he wrote with The Man in the Mirror. Go look in the mirror and be brutally honest with you. Because if you lie to you, you have no problem lying to everybody else. Your health will reflect it, but so your banking account. Over here, I want to teach you how to become your own bank. I want to teach you how to make so dang much money that you have to have other people, financial planners on these Zooms. And that might be ahead of some of you now, but it's not out of your grasp. It's not. Right now is the most opportune time I've ever seen in my 60-some years of existence. People are looking for one thing, and the only thing we're lacking in the world, y'all know what that is? Leadership. People that's going to be tried and proven, that can stand up and kick the door down, and they know that whatever you say, you mean it, and you're going to get it done exactly when you said you're going to get it done. integrity and honoring your word. And they can look at your physical well-being and tell if you're being true to yourself. Your banking account will always reflect that. And so there again, when I open it up, what it costs you right now to get to where you are, it's going to cost you a lot less, just more effort to get to where you want to go. And I think everybody deserves to live my kind of lifestyle. That means we ain't got no clocks. Ain't nobody tell us what to do. Any of y'all ever like being told what to do? Get up. Be here by 9. Be here by 7. It's what you got to have done by 9 so you can go take a bathroom break. We're going to let you go eat some lunch at 11:30. And you go home, watch a little TV, and get really depressed. That's why I never watch TV any longer. They have nothing that interests me on there. I would rather read a book or journal. I'd rather figure out ways to help this team right here go to the next level. So anybody else got anything? Come on. This is exciting.
Rusty, what do you put in your journals? It's Denise again. Sorry. What do you put in your journals every day? Because I tend to always speak about how I'm feeling. I don't want to operate on feeling anymore. I want to operate on heart, and grit. I think of it kind of like a diary too. I don't know. I want to switch it up. I'm about to get a new journal. So I want to do something a little different.
Yeah. Well, in my journals, I challenge myself every day. What did I accomplish yesterday? Did I get every night before I go to bed? My wife, as soon as this is Zoom, it's my last Zoom today. We'll sit down and we're going to create a daily plan of action for tomorrow. I call it a POA. Actually, to me, it's a plan of attack. But you have to have an action plan before you can attack it. I know exactly what I'm going to do, what I'm going to work out, where I got to be here, what Zoom I got there. My whole day is planned, but it's my plan. And I know exactly what I'm going to do in the morning. As soon as I get up, I do my devotions, my prayers. I go straight and get in a cold shower. I come in and start taking my stuff, and I hit my first 1 or 2 Zooms for some of the other countries. I'm out the door. I'm getting ready to go train. 3-way. All my trucks are set up with everything. I touch buttons. I can do the 3-way phone calls or whatever. Just boom, boom, boom. All day I'm talking. But I like to challenge myself to go to the next level. Physically, helping other people, financially, and what strategies am I putting in place to help everybody win? And I can't put a strategy in place for just me. I have to put it in place for y'all to win, because we have to win as a team. So don't be scared to challenge yourself. And then in your daily plan of action that you've drawn out, you check that booger off. I got that done. I got that done. Why didn't I get this done? You're holding yourself accountable for how you invest your time. If you're not investing your time, you're wasting. You wonder why on Friday you broke, and you go through the same rituals. Let's go eat McDonald's on Friday night. By the way, I don't eat McDonald's. I will not eat there. I'd rather eat a dead possum on the side of the road.
Squirrel.
Hey, I'm a country boy now. I'm a big hunter, and my daughters and I. If you ever see the little blonde-headed girls hunting with me, they're my daughters, and soon to be my granddaughter. It's something we just enjoy doing. And so, but challenge yourself every day. Don't ever let somebody challenge you harder than you're willing to challenge yourself. Ronnie, is this true?
Yeah, it's very true.
Dude, we challenge each other every time we train. If we don't make it hard and heavy, we can't grow. The growth is in the pain of which you're uncomfortable. And by having a journal where that you're journaling every day, when you start to challenge yourself, you begin to get stronger, you begin to grow, and then you start to discover your real abilities, your capabilities, and things that you can execute to help other people. And everything I do is centered around who can I help next? Who can I help next? It's not about me, it's about you. And if you always have to hit the stage and tell who you are, what your title is, that means you're living in some type of fear. Not knocking nobody. It's just when you really knock it out, other people will tell everybody who you are. And not at that really, I'm just Rusty. I just want to be your friend. There's nothing special about me except I will work. I will work way past earlier than most and later than the rest. And you know what? This is my way of life. This is what I've done to secure the future of my two daughters. This is what I've done to secure the future of this wonderful girl I've been with for 45 years. What I'm doing to secure the future of my granddaughter and any other grandchildren that come our way. Because I want them to, this is what I really want. I'm looking at this big ranch in Virginia, where I'm from. It's 1,000+ acres. It's right on Smith Mountain Lake. And it's where our farm was not too far where I grew up. And I can see it now in the big house over the fireplace mantle. I'm going to have somebody to draw a portrait of me on my horse Ranger. And I'm going to have my double barrel shotgun broke down across my back. I'm going to have my big cowboy hat on, my cowboy boots, and all the stuff I hunted. And they're going to have that big portrait of me sitting up on my big white horse. And my great grandchildren are going to be up on my big ranch. And they're going, look, there he is. He wasn't quick because he knew we were coming. I want to ask you something. Does that sound fair for the generations that are coming behind you? That you've done it now to secure their future? There's not one person that cannot do what I've done. It's not nothing special. Because here's why. It Works Global is an equal opportunity. We all have the same product line. We have the same websites. We got the same app. We have the same training. Everything, the back office is the same. The corporate's the same for all of us. But guess what else we have is the same? It's 24 hours in the day. We all have that 24 hours. I just want to ask you something. How are you investing your 24 hours? And are you invested enough into it to have that type of return? Does that make sense? So anything less than that is just nothing more than a pitiful excuse, and that is a generational curse passed down by families. And oh, by the way, there is no such a thing as hereditary. Bullshit. Sickness is not hereditary. No, it's bad habits that you have that you bring it from those generations down. That's why you're sick with diabetes and all the other stuff. That's the hereditary is the habits. I totally believe that you can change a total genetic structure. I think you can change everything in your life for the better. It's you just got to stop practicing the bad habits you watched everybody else practice. By the way, how'd that work for them? Well, my grandfather died at 71, four-way blockage. My father died at 71, kidney failure. And I've stopped practicing the things that they did. They still eat the same things that we had on the farm. You know what the difference was? Nobody works as hard as we did back then to keep it moving.
Know what's in your food. Yeah.
So just love you like you want to be loved. It all starts with you. And you're the one that sets the demand or the perimeter or the standard for how you want to be treated. Are you treating you like you really want to be treated? Because you're the one that's training the other people how to do it. Does that make sense? Anybody else got anything? Come on now. All right, Maria, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rusty, for taking time out of your schedule to come on here and do this for us. We really appreciate it. You guys don't forget about the Monday motivation that started a few minutes ago. So be sure to go over to Road to VIP and jump on that. Let's finish the night strong. Thank y'all.
All right. Good night, everyone. We love you guys.